Okay, good morning, everyone. It's, I guess, a bit of a continuation from yesterday. It's not even a bit, it's a continuation. The Shulchan Aruch, the book of Jewish law, starts off right in the beginning of Orach Chaim, is what it's called. There are 4 different books of Jewish law. When I say 4 different books, I don't mean that we have different books. What I mean to say is that there are 4 different sections, 4 different sections of Jewish law. The sections are, anyone know? Okay, that's one answer. I'll share with you another one. And that is Yoredea, Orach Chaim, Choshen Mishpat, and Even Ezer. Right? These are the 4 different categories, and they pretty much go through all of Jewish law. Right? Anything you can think about is in there. The idea of daily life, right? That's Orach Chaim generally. Deals also with Shabbat, otherwise known as Shabbos, Yom Tov, things like that. We have the idea of marriage, divorce, and things dealing with that. Bidness, things dealing with business, and then we have ideas of kosher and non-kosher, the way we deal with Jews and non-Jews, etc. So these are the 4 different books. One of them that we just mentioned, as you said, is Orach Chaim, which is usually said very quickly, Or Chaim, right? But it's Orach Chaim, which means the way of life. And in the very beginning, he starts up by saying the following idea. He says, Yisgaber ko'ari lamod baboker la'avodas bar. Fuertalece como de león. You want to strengthen yourself like a lion, to get up early in the morning. In order to what? To serve your Creator. She'em or shachar, that you should really awaken in the morning, and the morning shouldn't awaken you. And that's brought to mean that a person really should pray what's called vasikin. You should pray as the sun comes out. Not the day should awaken you, but you should awaken the day. I get up even before, and some of you are like, oh man. You probably don't even know what I mean when I say the word morning. But there's a thing called morning. And you should be getting up in order to be able to start to go to essentially lavodas bo, to serve God. And he goes on and says the following. Before I even get into the following of the Ramah, this is the Machaber. It's going to get too technical if I go through all the details right now, but the bottom line, that's the opening statement. The Machaber was someone named Yosef Cairo, and he was from Spain. And he basically came along and was actually originally, if I'm not mistaken, Spain. Yeah, he was born in 1488. 1488, right before 1492, if you're familiar with the Spanish Inquisition. And then he was chucked. In any event, he says the idea is what? That get up early, you should get up and strengthen yourself like a lion. And where is he getting that statement from? And again, this is, if anyone's interested, I'd be happy to share with you all the technicalities and the details of the background of everything I'm sharing with you right now. For those who know a little bit more, we'll understand already what I'm talking about. The Shulchan Aruch, this book of Jewish law, called the Shulchan Aruch, which literally means a set table, written by Yosef Cairo. He was basing it off another book before him, which is essentially known as, anyone? One of the main bodies of work was known as the Torah. We had the Torah. Okay, also gets it for the Ram, the Rish, and the Rif, and the Rosh, but neither here nor there for now. I'm going. In any event, the Torah says, he's quoting a Mishnah. The Mishnah says in Pirkei Avos, they actually made a song. I have a good friend that sang this song, and the song is, it's a Mishnah, right? But Heve Az Kanamer, anyone know the end? Vikal Kanesher, Rotz Katzvi, Vigibor Kari. Keep going. Okay, you did good. Lasos Ritzon Avicha Shabbat Shamayim. Right, you saw a Williger song, Jesse Sachs sing the soul. Heveyos Kanamer, Vikal Kanesha. I can't get that. Rotzkatzi, Vigibor, Kari. Which means what? A person should be having Oz Kanamer. Oz, the word in Hebrew, Oz, means what?
Courage.
Okay, courage or strength, right? Here it can mean, the idea generally is translated as bold, right? Have the strength. Oz v'hadar levusha, right? Have the might and the power. Be bold. Oz kanamer, like a namer. What's a namer? Anyone know? Tiger. Close. Who said that?
Leopard.
Yeah, a leopard, right? Leopard. Let's be Oz kanamer. The truth is, if you look into, there's a parish in Kiddushin which says it's not really, but let's say, all right, a leopard. Havios kanamer, and then it says vikal kanesher. You should be kal kanesher. What's kal mean?
Light.
Kal means light, not as in loose, but as in not heavy. Havios can be light or swift is the way that sometimes they like to translate this one. Have you always kind of remember Kal Kanesher? Maybe they don't say swift here. Maybe it's the next one. We're going to put it in both. Right? Kal Kanesher. Nesher means a eagle. The Kal Kanesher. Ruts. Okay, how do you do this one? Is that like that? Ruts. Is that right? Did I do that right? All right, thank you. I'm so not used to writing. I'm now more used to writing like this. This is block letters, right? So those people who learned Hebrew in school but didn't really learn much more, right? You went to Hebrew school and then you dropped out because you hated it. So you learned the block letters. But after that, you don't really ever write like that. You're writing, script. But when my daughter in first grade was learning, so I had to relearn this. Right? So I finally know how to do it. Right? Ruts means to run. Maybe swift, perhaps. Anyways, run like a deer. What is a deer, right? So I know how it's spelled, relax. But in school, we had something called drop everything and read. Anyone had that before when they were a kid? Yeah? So the modern generation is like drop, I think now it's like drop. Oh, was it? Yeah. Now it's diwam, where it's drop everything and watch a movie. But anyway, so used to the idea is what it means deer. A deer is, there's vigibor, and be mighty, vigibor. Is there a yud in gibor?
I think so. Yeah.
Is there a yud? Okay, we'll do it, just in case you're not sure. Vigibor, which means mighty, might, powerful, of the might of an ari, of a lion. Okay, so now this is the Mishnah. Mishnah says, Havi'az kanamer, be bold as a leopard. Bold as a leopard. Be light as an eagle. Run like a deer, or a diawam, and have the might of a lion. Lasso sitzon avicha shebashamayim. To do the will of your Father in heaven. It's good, nice poem. Yeah, it's a nice thing to say, to tell people, you should be like a leopard, an eagle, a deer, and a lion. It's very good. Just one question. Why do you need any of these? Just say, Havi'az v'kal rutz v'gibor. You should be bold, you should be quick, you should run, and you should have might in order to serve God. Why you got to bring in this whole section?
Those are the best.
Say again?
Because those are the best in that.
These are the best. Okay, that's one. Yeah. Say again, please.
Those are the animals that represent those qualities.
Those are the animals that represent those qualities. Say more. I want to hear it. You're saying good as we were saying in the yeshivish terminal. Say better.
Those animals.
Don't say it again slower. That doesn't change anything, right? It's like I was visiting someone in a hospital here, and there's a woman who was unfortunately in a bad accident, and the doctor. So they had this screen, this television screen there. So when I went to visit, I said, like, do you want the television on? Do you want, like, whatever it is? Like, before we go, like, just sitting here. This woman was unfortunately, she was here on a trip, and she got run over by a bus. Like, literally run over by a bus. Yeah, it was like on top of her. Crazy story. And thank God she's getting back. I don't know where she is right now. I haven't been to visit her in a while. I went only one time, but she really go again. But when we went to visit her, so she's American, and she's her first time in Israel, and this is what happened. You know what I'm saying? It was her last day here. She was going home, and this happened to her. And basically, so okay, this woman, so I said, do you want us to put on the television for you before you go? She's just like sitting there. And she's like, oh, no, I'm making a mistake. There were two women. This one actually had it easier. She also got hit, but the other one had the one on top of her. Okay, but the bottom line is this one also got hit by the same bus. They were walking together. And this woman is in the, so I said, do you want to put it on? So she goes, yeah, I guess, it's just lying there. She can't do anything, right? So we put it on, and we're like, I wonder what it is. Fancy schmancy. I mean, the thing is like high tech. It's like on the nice airplanes that have you choose your own thing. You know what I'm saying? You could choose whatever. Only these Shiva guys are nodding. But anyway, they did. The concept where you could choose your own movies, your own whatever. So it had internet and phone and whatever. So I was like, okay, what do you want? So it's like 1,000 channels. She's like, I don't know, let's put anything. So we put something on, no signal. Right? It looks nice, yeah, but this actually doesn't work. Okay, no signal. So we call over the nurse. The nurse comes in, and we're like, listen, can you help with the thing? So she starts speaking in Hebrew. So he said, she doesn't speak Hebrew. She only speaks English. So she goes, do you want the thing? She's not deaf, right? She just doesn't speak Hebrew, right? The idea is what? All that story for nothing. Okay, the point is that back to what we're saying is it says the following. You're right to have those qualities, but there's something more than just that, is that really, what is a leopard, what is an eagle, what is a deer, and what is a lion? They are what they are. In other words, if I said describe one of them, I said describe, if I said describe, we don't really know what a leopard is, most of you probably, but if I said describe an eagle, so we'd say swift, right? We'd say the idea is light and it flows through the air. Right? In other words, it's not that the eagle is sometimes light and sometimes swift. That is an eagle, right? That is the mahus, that is the essence of what it is. What's a deer? They run, right? Deers don't say, today I will walk, right? They don't do that, you understand? It's like, a cow eating grass saying, today I'd like to actually, I'm saying, I'm going to become a carnivore, right? And get over here, Bessie. I want to bite out of you, right? It doesn't exactly, they are what they are. That is their essence. If I just would have said to you, be bold, light, run, and mighty, so say, okay, I'll do that. But here it's saying, don't just do those things, be those things. You understand? Let these things be you. Have them become your essence. When we're going to serve Hashem, we're serving God, you don't serve Him and say, I'm now going to use a quality of. We say, I'm now going to become this quality. Does everybody get that idea? And this is how it starts off, why he says, Yisgaber ka'ari. You should strengthen yourself like a lion. Why? Because it's coming from this Mishnah, right? He uses an idea of the Mishnah, it starts with the lion, strengthen like a lion. What's the idea? First of all, has anyone ever seen a lion?
Yeah.
You ever see a lion getting up? Yeah, they usually don't. Not exactly. It kind of looks exactly like what you don't want to be, right? It like gets up like, yeah. It's like waking up kids for school, right? You say, come on, get up like a lion. They're like, I am, right? That's what I'm doing, yeah? So you're saying, like, what are you being like a lion? Answer is that, no, when a lion wants to do something, has anyone here ever been to South Africa? Anyone from South Africa? Okay, has anybody been there before? Has anyone ever heard of it? There's a place called South Africa. One of you. Okay, so the rest of you, there's a place in the world called Africa, and there's a south part. Now, in that south part, right, I was visiting there once, and I had the merit of going. There's an Aisha Torah down in South Africa, and I went there, and they took me to a lion and rhino park. It was someone's backyard, I'm saying, but the bottom line is that lion, it wasn't like Kruger or something like that, if you know what that is, national park. But okay, for the American tourist, it was enough, right? For the people that live there, they're like, all right, kitty, sit down, right? But it was really wild to watch. You go into, it's not like when you go to, I don't know people's backgrounds. Has anyone ever been to Great Adventure? Right, been to Great Adventure before? Yeah, that Six Flags? Yeah. Who's never heard of that? There's no idea what I'm talking about. Yeah, okay, everyone knows what that is. Yeah, you know what that is? The Demas are Superland. Yeah, okay, so yeah, it's not Superland, it's much better. And the point is, right, so you go to Great Adventure, and they have a safari. They also have it here in Israel, they have the safari, right? You go into a safari. It's like very cute, monkeys jump in your car, they come inside and try to kill you, right? But besides those, it's kind of boring. I mean, it's nice, but it's kind of boring. A lion and rhino park in South Africa, you go in, there's signs everywhere. Keep your windows closed. Don't get out of your car. Get out at your own risk of death. Like, it's like they're very open. It's not like you might get hurt. It's like in England, it'd be like, hey, caution, you might harm yourself, right? And there, it's like, you're gonna die, fool, right? You better make sure you stay in your car, right? And you go out, these lions come literally, say there's a rhinoceros that was walking up to the car. It was very scary. And at one point, I had to use the office, the bathroom, and I went to this area. And then we get out, there's these ostriches walking all over the place. Yeah. Now, does anyone know anything about ostriches? Yeah. Right? Yeah, they're pretty wild animals, right? They're pretty wild. They're pretty tall. I mean, not huge, but they're big. They run very fast, and they're pretty vicious, like if you mess with one. So I'm not gonna mess, right? But these ostriches are literally walking right up to you. And I'm like, Hashem, please, right? This is like, Shema Yisrael. I'm like, oh. And I'm sitting there, and there's this black guy there who's working there, and I want to tell you something. Please don't misunderstand me when I say this. This guy, this is not a racist comment. He could have been white once. He's just in the sun all day, right? Like baking there. It is so unbelievably hot. And this ostrich comes over, and he holds out these kernels, like popcorn, kernels. And the thing comes out. It's like, whoosh, right? Remember yesterday? I think, therefore I am, ribbit. Right over here, no. It's like, whoosh, right? They come in, and the guy is like, he's like, you want to do it? I'm like, no, I'll just watch you, right? I'm like, what do I do? He's like this, hold out your hand. I'm like, okay, hold out my hand. And then he's like, and then it goes like this. Whoosh. I'm like, no, thank you, right? I just watch. It's pretty crazy. It's really, really crazy. So there's a lot of stories, unfortunately, about people that come to these parks. And they're like, oh, the lion's sleeping, I'll go take a picture. Right? And a lot of them, I don't mean to say this as a joke, it's just a reality. A lot of times they'll have Chinese people that come visit. And then, Simba will ask Mufasa, like, what are you having today? He's like, I'm having Chinese, right? Because what happens? The guy gets out of his car, and he goes, and he's like, this is a true story about a guy. You think this one survived. He opened up his car, he went out, and the lion's sleeping, right? Whatever. He goes to take a picture. He's standing right by his car, but he's right outside. And as soon as he goes like this, the lion looks, bam, 0 to 60, jumps at him, and he was like, he falls into his car, right, which he's very thankful for. And when he fell in, someone pulled him in, and then they got out of there. They have other stories, people, they get eaten. Literally, they get eaten. What's a gibor? You know what it means to me? The idea of gibor kari, when it's ready to do so, bam, it gets up. And that's what it should be like. You wake up in the morning, there's a battle going on. There's a massive battle. When you wake up in the morning, it's like, I don't want to get up. Now, truth is, it really depends. If you're in the working world, you do want to get up because, right, it's about making money. So therefore, since it's about making money, therefore it's important, right? But in the religious world, which is just about your soul and eternity, so, right, you stay asleep. But we don't always look at it like that, do we? Yeah? But the point is that there's a battle, and the battle rages on. How long will it rage? Until we die, right? Rabbi Yashiv, who was a very big rabbi,
What
passed.
is the bold?
Bold? Courageous. What was the other word someone used? Strength, strong, courage.
I like to look at it.
No
Why
sé en
wouldn't it be
español.
the leopard
Tienes
run?
cojones.
What?
The leopard is the fastest animal in there.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't it be run?
Apparently, I'm not holding in leopardology, but my understanding just of the Mishnah is that they're pretty bold. Yeah, and brazen, right? Azut.
Fearless.
Yeah, fearless is a good one.
The way I like to look at this word is like shaved off all your fears.
Why shaved off? What is that?
Bold.
Oh, bald. Oh no, it's a different word. Yeah, you're saying with the connection. I hear you saying. The idea is like a leopard being bold and brazen means that like a chutzpah. You understand? Like a chutzpah. Oz, like azus panim, right, which is a word itself, connected to it, is when someone comes along and they're like, what you got, boy? I don't care about you. I don't care about nothing. Now you want meth? Bring it, right? Like, dude, you're a leopard. I'm a lion. I don't care. Bring it, right? But that's what they'll go. They're like a little brother, right? That's what it is. So find that this is what it comes.
With your little brother?
What's that?
You have traumas with your little brother?
I know my older brother. I don't have a little brother anymore. No, my older brother tried to make sure I wasn't here, but I did have a lot of trauma. I do want to talk about it. So it all started. But in any event, the idea is that this is what the Mishnah is telling us, and this is what it's telling. When you wake up in the morning, Rabbi Yashiv, a great sage, big rabbi, passed away a couple of years ago at the young age of, I think, 102. He had a schedule. He had an interesting schedule from the time he was about, 3 or something, that he would go to sleep at 10:30 at night, right? Early to bed, early to rise, makes a man tired. And but he would go to sleep at 10:30. He would wake up at, I think, 2:30. Is that right? Something like 2:30 in the morning. This is the schedule every day for about 100 years. And I kid you not when I say about 100 years. He started learning at like 3 years old from his grandfather, who was a makubal, right? Who was a Kabbalist known as a Leshem. And he was a sick kid. He was sick. He was a sickly kid, so he wasn't able to go and play sports and whatever. And he started to just learn. He had lots of problems physically, but I'm saying he did pretty good for himself. Yeah. And for 100 years, he had a battle. That battles with the Yetzer Hara, with the evil inclination. Every one of us has that battle every single day, some every second, all the time. Early morning, waking up in the morning. Can you imagine getting up at 2:30 in the morning every day? So you say, like, well, if you get used to it, yeah, but we're talking about 4 hours of sleep. You understand? 4 hours of sleep. Truth is, a person get used to that. Now, I have a great uncle who was in the American Army. And he was religious his whole life, but I do not know why. I don't know what the whole circumstances that he was there, but he's in the American Army. And one time his boots weren't shined well enough. So they punished him that he has to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. He anyway got up at 4 o'clock in the morning to pray. That's what he did. He would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to study and then to pray, and then before anyone got up, and they're like, that's it. Hershkowitz tomorrow, 5 a.m. He's like, oh no, right? I can sleep in, right? Idea is that we find is that early in the morning is a big challenge. So Yasha, what he used to do when he would wake up, this rabbi, when he would wake up, the first thing he did, he was kick his blanket off the bed. Right? Because we know what's the biggest enemy that we have, right? Is the blanket, right? It's the battle of the blanket. right? So like you take it off, but then it goes, no, stop it. You know you want this. And you're like, I do, but we spoke about this. I can't. Right? They're like, just one more time. Fine. Right? And then you wake up at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, right? That wasn't the mushal, by the way. I'm talking about a blanket, right? But the point is that we find at the end of the day, this is what it means. That we say, Yizgaber Ka'ari, you have to strengthen yourself like a lion to get up in the morning. Yesterday we discussed, was that yesterday? Yesterday we talked about the idea of tefillah, right? And we talked about the idea of why do we say the same thing every day, over and over and over again, 3 times a day, same thing, because we forget. And we have to drill that into us. And now it's saying further, you got to serve God, you got to do it. Idea with what? Be bold, right? Be bold, right? The idea is what? Okay, stop looking. The idea is, right, you have to be swift, you have to run, we got to be mighty in order to now serve God. This is what we need to do, people, and we got to instill these things because that's who they are. And the only way to do that is by doing it. When a person starts to do something, it becomes a part of them, right? So this is the classic statement, which maybe you've heard before, and that's called fake it till you make it, right? If a person's not feeling that, so what do? Pretend. Rav Noah Weinberg of blessed memory, who started Eish HaTorah in 1974, passed away. It's coming up on his yard site in about 2 weeks. He passed away about 5 years, six years ago, 2009, 6 years ago. And he was once... He was home by himself, and one of his students came to help him out, like whatever he needed. It wasn't like it was old, but to help him with what he needed. And he heard, at like 5 o'clock in the morning, he heard someone roaring. Someone's going, roar, from the other room. He heard roar, literally roaring from the other room. And he's like, what is going on here, right? And he came out and he saw Rav Noach going, roar. He's like, Rabbi, first of all, you woke me up, right? So that's one. Number 2, what are you doing? It says, you have to make yourself like a lion, right? So I'm roaring, right? Now, you think that's nuts, right? The reality is, and it could be, but the idea is, if you want something to be real, you got to do it. You understand? You got to do it. And when you start doing it, then it starts to become a part of you. At first, you don't have a connection, right? And it's just, I'm doing it because I was told to do it. But the more you get involved in it, and the more you do it, the more it literally starts to become a part of you. You start to become that person. Every one of us is that in wherever we are. We are creatures of habit, and we become that which we do. Whether or not you want to, or whether or not you don't want it, if you start doing something, it becomes a part of you. Which is why it's very scary. A person says, let me just slack off a little bit in a certain area like this. As soon as you give towards anything in life, and this is, I hate to use the cliche so much, but the famous Rav Dessler about love, right? And that's like, what's love? So we know the Hebrew word for love is ahava, right? And the root of ahava would take time, but you've probably all heard this before. The root of ahava, who has not heard this before, what I'm saying? Who's not heard this before? Okay, how's your Hebrew? A little bit? Ahava means love. What is the root, the shoresh? If you were to, who said? What? Oh, hey, right, good, but it's just wrong, but it was a nice try. Anyone else? Good, right? Now it's the classic. You're right, Ohev is a shoresh, but really the shoresh of ahava comes down to the root is hav. Hav. What does the word hav mean? Hav means to give. When a person gives to something, they come to love it. Right? And this, and anything you find, unfortunately, people that are in relationships. And I'm not going to say, I hope I don't strike a chord here emotionally for anyone, but let's say someone's in an abusive relationship. There are times when people are in abusive relationships, but they stay in their relationships even though they're in an abusive relationship. And you say, why are you staying? And let's say that it's not because of fear. In other words, sometimes they're scared to leave, right? Let's say they're not scared to leave. Why do they stay? So you're saying, I'm not saying it's always like this, but generally, at least in my head, the cliche stereotype is it's the woman that's getting abused. But there are times when it's the man. But let's say the woman's getting abused. Not let's even say physically, but verbally abused. And you say, like, why are you staying with him? And what does she say?
He loves me.
Because what?
He loves me.
Right, he loves me and he's really good. You know, so he says names, but like he's creative. He comes up with new names, you know what I'm saying, every time. It's amazing. He's great, right? And you're saying like, why? But why? Answer is because when you invest in something, when you put into something, that thing becomes a part of you. So therefore what happens is that it's rare that the abuse starts right away. Because if it started right away, then she never would have got involved in the first place. But once you get involved, it's very hard to get uninvolved. Everybody hear that? Right? Because you've given towards something. When you invest in something, when you give towards something, it becomes a part of you. So the mission here is saying that you got to get these things. How does a person do it? By giving towards these things, doing these things. If you start, right, that's like if you build it, they will come. right? That's the reality here. If you build it, you will come. You will become that person. Okay, so the Mishnah starts by, the halacha starts by telling us what? Yisgaber ka'ari, strengthen yourself like a lion. Be like a lion. When you wake up in the morning, just like when it's ready, it goes bam, pounces on that Chinese guy. We got to pounce on Chinese people. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah? You're going to hear like tomorrow, like Jewish man kills Chinese man. Why did he do it? He claims he's like a lion, right? Okay, yeah. It is a Shulchan Aruch, right? The book of Jewish law. God wanted me to do it. Did you hear voices? No. What do you mean? Anyway, they did what we have. Is that Yiskavikai make yourself like that. And it goes on and he explains the following. Because the way that a person walks and talks and acts and dresses and behaves is not the same when you're in front of your friends than when you are in front of a great king. Now, saying in front of a great king is very hard to understand what that even means. Like, none of us, maybe, there's only one person in this room that I could think of that has ever heard of a king before or lived where there was kings, right? But the idea is, other than that, none of us own a king. Even if from England, you just know what a queen is and she pays taxes, so I don't really know what's going on, right? The point that she's paying herself, but okay, Nebuch, she has a hard time. I think she makes $100 million a year. But anyway, and half of it goes to horses or something. But what we find is that the way that you behave when you're in front of your friends and the way you behave in front of God are not the same. But that's very hard to understand. So they didn't say God, you say like a king. But even a king we don't understand. So let's not say that. Let's say someone that you respect. Is there anyone here that respects anyone? One of you. Oh, two. Good. Okay, so now, it's hard to find this nowadays, but let's say you have something you respect. In other words, that you would be embarrassed to be caught doing something in front of this person, right? Yeah, there are certain people. Some people have no shame, right? Others have a little bit. You just have to find where it is. So therefore, what we have is the following. Says the Ramah, right in the beginning, in that same statement that we said, the very first statement of the Shulchan Aruch. The way that you walk, the way that you talk, the way that you dress and the way you behave, the way that you act is totally different when you're in front of your posse and your friends, and like, yeah, than you are in front of someone that you respect. However, he goes on to, starts before all this, says, Shivisi Hashem l'negdi samid, place God before me always. The goal is to be able to get as close as we can. We spoke about this in the past. Eish HaTorah is very big on talking about this all the time, like what are we doing here? The whole reason we're here is for pleasure. The whole reason we exist is for pleasure. I'll tell you a story about one of the rabbis here. I don't want to say who it is in case he doesn't want to know, but there's a rabbi here who, why did he come? He grew up secular. His brother came here and he got caught. What's that? Okay, so he came to save his brother. That was why he came. He came to save him from, the clutches of these Jews. And he walked into a class from Rav Noach Weinberg. And Rav Noach was talking about pleasure that day, the 5 levels of pleasure. So he walked in. This is when that this is what happened.
Well, I don't know the actual story, but I know you're talking about. I know what happened afterwards.
Yeah. So he comes in, and he's not going to be rude and just like pull his brother straight out. So the rabbi's talking, looks like a holy man. So he sits down to hear what he has to say. And he says, "What are we doing on this earth? Why do we exist?" So he's thinking in his head like crazy rabbis, probably gonna be like, "We're here for Torah, or for God, or for heaven." And the rabbi goes, "Come on, why are we here? We all know we're here for pleasure. That's what life is about. That's what Judaism is about." And now he gets confused. He's like, "What's going on here?" Because I also think life is about pleasure. One of us here is very wrong, yeah? Because his type of pleasure, unless he's doing something behind the, I don't know what's going on, his type of pleasure and my type of pleasure, I don't think match up. He looks to be like a sane guy, so let's hear what he has to say. All right, sucker, he's been here for 30 years, but the idea is that what happens is he got nailed in that class, and now he's still here, and he teaches here, but the idea is that, what are we doing here? We're here for pleasure. Ultimately, that's what we're here. The whole reason we exist is to get the most life, most out of it's pleasure. Matter of fact, very apropos for Shvat. Today is Rosh Chodesh, right? The first day of the month of Shvat. And we all know, for those who grew up religious at least, Tu B'Shvatigi, Hagai, Lanot, right? That a holiday is coming up in about 2 weeks called Tu B'Shvat. Right? Okay, whatever the real meaning of that holiday is, we'll discuss another time, but which probably we never. But what most people understand it to mean is to do with fruits, and okay, we eat a lot of fruits. They have a seder, we just eat a lot of fruit, and then you have wine because wine has fruit, and then you get drunk, and okay, enough about me. So the idea that we're saying here is that is that the Gemara says in Kiddushin that if a person does not eat an apple, if you do not eat an apple in this world, when you get upstairs after we die, God is going to take us to task and ask us, why didn't you eat an apple? And you're like, serious? Like you get up there, like the mighty of hosts, like, and it's all scary and it's like this all official. Has anyone ever been to court? Yeah, you go to court, like it's just a scary thing just to be even if you're not doing anything wrong, just to be there. Now you know you did do things wrong in your life, and now you're in front of the judge, the king of the kings, the Holy One, blessed be He, hallelujah, and you're standing there, and it's all ready, and then they go and they hold out an apple and they go, why didn't you eat an apple? And you're like, well, it didn't really work out for Adam, you know what I'm saying? So like, I was figuring maybe I should eat something else, Yeah. Okay, so this is why did you eat an apple? You're like, serious? That's what you're what? That's it? He's like, that's it. Hell, right? You're like, what? It's like, because I need an apple? What does that mean? The answer is that God created this world for our pleasure. Now that doesn't mean we should just eat shrimp or whatever it is that we like, you understand? But within what's permissible to us, God says, I want you to enjoy this life. Now, really, ultimately, it's to enjoy the next life. This world is just a microcosm of reality. When you appreciate what this life is about, then you could start to get an understanding of what the next life is about. If you have nothing to base it off, but if I told you that the next world is more pleasurable than this world, but you don't even know what pleasure is in this world, so then how does that help you? But when you eat an apple, right, now, most of us don't think about it. There's a Rabbi Victor Miller. I don't think the Gemara means to be so specific. It could be. Rabbi Victor Miller, he used to eat an apple every day at 2 o'clock. Every day at 2 o'clock he would eat an apple. A lot of reasons why. One is to have a seder. It's something you're doing every day at the same time. You're in control. You're doing something. And he used to give classes on apples and oranges. He was very into niflos habori, the wonders of the world. And you look at an apple. Think about how amazing an apple is. Right? We just take it for granted. It's taking out, oh, this one's rotten. Let me get another one from the store. Right? Think about an apples. Where do they come from? They grow off wood. That's number one, right? What? Saying you have a piece of wood and an apple comes out of the wood. Does that make sense to anyone here? All right? Do we realize how already this is a little bit crazy? Okay, not only that, you could eat this thing, right? Now, it has a wrapper and you can eat the wrapper. The wrapper is there for you to eat. Eat the wrapper. Not only that, most of the nutrients are found in the wrapper. All right, for those who are familiar, fruits and vegetables, most of the nutrients, I think if I'm not mistaken, in upwards of 90% of the nutrients that you get out of fruits and vegetables are found in the peel and in the wrapper, in the peel and in the shell, in the outer part of the fruit or vegetable. And everyone like peels it and throws it away. That's how you get juicers. Right? You have a juicer, so you take it out. You still lose a little bit, but okay, you get. I have a cousin that we were by once for Pesach, and his kid, he had never eaten an orange before. And they peeled an orange for him. And he was so excited seeing this new thing. And he grabbed it and started eating it. The problem is he was eating the peel. And he grabbed it and he started eating the peel. They're like, no! And he didn't want to eat anything but the peel. And he was eating it. Some of you have chocolate covered peels, right? He was going straight up peel, yeah? Okay, it's healthy, believe it or not. But the wrapper you could eat. Not only could you eat the wrapper, but the wrapper tells you when you can eat the apple. It changes colors. You want a more clear example is a banana. A banana, most people I know don't need to peel there. But the idea is that the banana will change colors. Say, by the way, I'm ready now. Yeah, you weren't sure, now I'm ready. Apples also, they will change colors. You can see just by looking at it. Am I ready? It's the apples say, hey, whoo, over here, I'm ready. You take it down, the thing is full of juice. It's full of apple juice. You cut it open, you try to pour it out, nothing. No juice comes out. Like, you ripped me off. You said there's juice in here. Take a bite. Bam, it fills your mouth with juice. What's going on here? You can eat the wrapper. The thing is full of juice. It doesn't come out until you actually eat it. It has in it little computer chips that you can make more of them. Right? They're called seeds. As I once heard Rabbi Krohn say, you could always count how many seeds are in an apple, but you can never count how many apples are in a seed. Anyway, but the idea is what? True. Do you know what's going on in a seed? You have any idea what technology is happening in a seed? There's more technology in a seed than you find in this entire country. And this country, by the way, It's true. They are having a hard time with, like, let's say, I was at the store yesterday and someone's like, they're trying to buy Band-Aids, like 10 shekel for like a couple Band-Aids. I was like, should be lucky that they have Band-Aids here. Usually you go to a hospital, they give you cotton balls and tape, right? For a country that created the cell phone, right? But they don't have Band-Aids, yeah? We're pretty technologically advanced here, right? We just skipped the minor things. Right, no running water, but besides that, right, pretty technologically advanced doesn't compare to what's going on in one seed of an apple. You understand, people? Take a look and see what it is. Okay, but the idea is that you didn't eat an apple. Well, what do you want from me? Why? What's the problem? I created this world for you to get benefit and pleasure. You didn't take pleasure in it. There's a story about a rabbi by the name of Rav Hirsch, Rav Shamshon Raphael Hirsch, Rav Samson Raphael Hirsch. He lived from 1808 to 1888 in Germany. And one day he was taking a trip to Switzerland, and his students asked, where are you going? The big rabbi, the beard, the thing, right? Like to sit and learn Torah. Where are you going to Switzerland for? He said, what do you mean? I'm so close. Germany is so close to Switzerland. I'm right near it. And we know they're very similar, right? Germany and Switzerland was neutral, of course. But anyway, for those who know what I'm talking about, neutral. But the bottom line is that he says, I'm right near Switzerland. And they have the Alps there. The Swiss Alps. Has anyone ever been there before? The Alps? Been there? Actually been there or flown over it? I've been there, been to the Alps? Right? Is it nice?
Yeah.
I was never there. I just flew over. And just flying over, right? Flying over the Alps, it is just even without, it's magnificent. It looks like glass, there's like glass coming out of the sky, like this beautiful, like, magnet, made a brach on it, right? Amazing thing. He says, I live right near the Alps. When I die, God's going to say, you live next door to Switzerland and you didn't go see my Alps. What do you think? I created them for you. Now, some people misunderstand this and they spend their entire life just traveling. I'm not saying to do that, but I'm saying to have the opportunity, take it. People, it's about pleasure. That's what it's about. Okay, so we get caught up, but what's the ultimate pleasure you can get? The ultimate pleasure a person can get is when a person goes and connects with the actual source of everything. That's connecting with God. So therefore, understand, people, we lose track. We sell ourselves short. We give up eternity for some stupid thing. And you know how scary it is? What's going to happen when we get upstairs? Why? I want to tell you a mashal. I want to tell you an analogy. I shouldn't have told you because now you know it's an analogy and it won't be as fun. Let's start over. Let me tell you a story. It might be an analogy. Yeah? Now, I really like to revisit it. I like to update it, but I'm not going to update it. I'm going to go to the original one that I heard. And I imagine some of you have heard this, but if you think about it, you'll see how it's good to hear it again. I just request not to be that guy. Don't bust me up. There was a family, and they weren't doing so well financially. So they heard that there was a certain city. It's known as the City of Diamonds. Why it's called the City of Diamonds? Naturally, because it's full of diamonds. Anywhere you look, there's beaches of diamonds. Everywhere there's diamonds. So the guy's like, okay, it's a long journey to get there. You got to pay a lot of money to even get there in the first place, but it's worth it, right? You just be able to pay it back, yeah? And the guy says to his wife, I'll be back. I'll see you. Goodbye. Cool. Take care. Come back with a lot of cash. He leaves. Days, weeks, months, years, decades, millennia. He's about 100,000 when he gets there. But he's really like, whatever, a year later. Yeah? And they can see from the distance just this massive light coming from the distance. And when they get closer, they see it's the sun shining off the beaches. They're like, unbelievable. And as they get closer, they just jump in like DuckTales, woo! You know, like when he swims in his money. Anyone knows what I'm talking about, Scrooge? Anyway, so he goes ahead and he sees, it's all diamonds. So he just starts picking them up and he's like, yes! And he's eating them and he chokes and gets it out. And he's like so happy. And he just grabs a handful and he comes on the beach. There's like this little store selling drinks and he takes a handful of diamonds. He's like, I'll take a pina colada. He's like, you want a pina colada? He's like, yeah, that's what I said. He said, okay, pay up. He's like, come on, man, look what I just gave you. Look at the diamonds. He's like, are you serious? Look at the floor, right? Like that, thank you. The diamonds, that doesn't help. He's like, really? So what are you supposed to, like, how do I pay? He's like, well, the local currency is chicken fat. He goes, chicken fat? Is that like a code name? He's like, yeah, it's a code name for chicken fat, right? Chicken fat, like fat of a chicken. That's how we, like chicken skin will also suffice, a little lower quality, but you know what I'm saying, worth less, but you want like the fatty, you know what I'm saying, like when you're cutting have the triangle piece. Sometimes there's like something coming off the bottom. You cut off. That's worth a lot. You understand? That's like mad cash. Guy's like, well, how do I get it? He's like, there's a factory there for all you immigrants. Right, right over there. They start with like 5 chicken fat an hour. He's like, that's minimum wage. He's like, yo, man, you gotta start somewhere. Okay, so the guy goes to this factory and he starts working. And he starts to save up chicken fat. And he gets so good that he's no longer making 5 chicken fat an hour. He starts making like 10 chicken fat an hour. Doubles his wages, goes up to 20, opens up his own company. This guy becomes a chicken fattenaire. The guy is a fattenaire. Yeah, he's a million fattenaire chicken. And and he would visit that same thing every day, just to remember his humble startings and pay a couple of chicken fat for his thing. And one day he's like talking with someone, and it's like, how'd you get here even? And he's like talking, he's like thinking like, oh my goodness, this has to be a man, right? He's like, I forgot about my family, right? So he goes that, and he's like, I gotta go back. So okay, the guy's a millionaire, right? So he gets a boat, and it gives him a whole case of chicken fat. He said, listen, I want you to, if you could load up all my possessions, and the guy just takes case after case after case of chicken fat. He puts it on the boat, and he goes. And when he gets back home, he's like, hi, honey, I'm home. She's like, oh my gosh, it's been like a year since she's seen him. And she's like, honey, what is that smell? He goes, that smell? That is the smell of wealth, my love. That is the smell of wealth. We made it. We made it. She's like, made what? He's like, what do you mean? We're good to go. She's like, what do you mean? Come look. Pops open the chest. Whoosh, right? The smell. And she's like, oh, he's like, I know. Delicious. And she's like, honey, what is this? Because what is this? This is, we're rich. Oh my gosh. Oh, schnitzel. She's like, no, it's just chicken fat. There's no schnitzel. She's like, oh my goodness. And he starts rustling through the whole thing, and at the bottom he finds like a couple of diamonds. Right? There's a couple of diamonds he finds because when he was packing, he had some left, yeah? And they did okay with the couple of diamonds, but how did he feel? People, you know what this world is? This world is one big world of chicken fat. We come down here, we're in a shama, we're a soul. Our soul comes from upstairs. God says, go down and become a millionaire. How should you become a millionaire? With the currency we all know you should be involved with, Torah and mitzvos. You understand? Get involved in connecting with me. Get closer to me. I'm sending you on a mission. And the Shema says, but dear Malachal, no, I don't want to go. There's so much pain and evil on the earth below. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. The Shema says, I don't want to go. And he says, no, you have to go. And they force the Neshama to come down here. The soul comes down here. And then the soul, towards the end of its life, starts to say, okay, it's time to take you back. And then the soul goes, but dear Malchul, no, I don't want to go. He wants to stay in this world. It loses track of what's the reality of life. People are here. It's all about pleasure, but what pleasure do you get involved with? Chicken fat. You want to have pleasure that's like you're going to have right now a little bit of something, but then you end up with nothing? Right? That's thinking so short. Think long term, people. We're going to look at real pleasure. That's connecting with Hashem. How do you do that? What are the diamonds? The diamonds are the Torah. The diamonds are the mitzvos. The diamonds are when a person goes ahead and connects with the right thing. Therefore, since we're in this world, which is so full of chicken fat, and everyone's trying to sell us something, right? It's so selfish and so like ego, right? The I, right? The iPhone and the iPhone 4 and the iPhone 7. It's all about the I. Right? I know someone once pointed out, well, no, it's not just I, right? There's also Nintendo Wii. Right, but it's spelled W-I-I, yeah? The whole thing is I, as opposed to what it was. Even if you look in the Hebrew, back in the day, it was all about the other person. Yeah, you have what's called Knei Dalach. Everyone knows what Knei Dalach are? Like matzah balls or whatever, like the stuff. Knei Dalach. But what's Knei Dalach? What's lach mean? For you. For you. Knei Dalach, it's for you. Ragalach, what's Ragalach? The little chocolate cake things. Ragalach, it's all for you. For this generation now, it's what? Bisli. Li, it's for me. Kefli, it's all about me. It's everything switched up, and we don't even get anything out of it. Understand? And now what is it? Someone pointed this out. I didn't even see it. The Samsung came out with me and my note. Anyone saw that slogan? Because I is taken, so now we're moving on to me. Yeah? Now it's me. And everywhere we look, it's like trying to sell us on something else, which is just baloney. It's all baloney. Imagine you walked outside and someone's like, hey, come with me. I got a good deal with you. You do this for me, I'm going to give you 1,000 pounds of chicken fat. You'd be like, are you out of your freaking mind? Like, why would I want that? Instead, they go, let me give you $1 million. It's like, I'm in. Okay, you have to break Shabbos, and you can't keep kosher, and you have to speak Lashon Hara, and you have to kill someone. But you get $1 million. Like, I'm in if I won't get caught, right? It wasn't me. And just people understand, no, focus. Yiskaber ka'ari lamad baboker la'avodas boro. When we wake up, for the moment we wake up, the mentality is, I'm coming to serve my Creator. Remember where we are. Remember, this is just transient. People wake up, right? When I snap my fingers, you all wake up, right? And realize the fact that this is not what you think it is. Olam hazeh damah leprasdor. This whole world is just a corridor. It's just a path. Hatkein atzmach de'lekanas etraklan. Fix yourself so you can enter into the palace. What are you going to go back to the States for marshals? What are you going to back? Okay, maybe. Think about what's going on, people. Don't get so caught up in this world. No, but it's like, you know what I'm saying? But I enjoy things and God wants me to enjoy. Yeah, there are things He told you to enjoy, but the things He said don't enjoy. You're going to get much more pleasure out of not enjoying them in the long run than enjoying them. But isn't life just about being a good person? And it says, yeah, but what's the definition of a good person? It says, God, let me share with you what it is. Well, I'll follow some of your things, but not all of them. Okay, so go upstairs and you'll get some diamonds and some chicken fat. You understand? It's your call. You choose your own destiny.
So you're saying if you don't keep Shabbos, you're not a good person?
If you don't keep Shabbos, you're not a good person.
You said a good person is what God says to do. So
I don't. What do you
More chicken fat.
What do you think? What do you think?
I think a good person is someone who cares about other people and basically, does the right thing, but
Does the what?
does the right thing.
The what?
It depends what it,
Right.
I don't think you're a bad person if you don't keep Shabbos.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. No comment. Thank you. Do your own math. I'll tell you the equation, and you figure out the result of it. You have a God. God tells us what we should be doing, what we shouldn't be doing. You see, what happens is when we put it in those terms, we put it in very emotional terms. See, I mean, if I don't pick up my grandmother on Shabbos to come to my house, to see my children, to enjoy life, to really get nachas. You're saying that's good? That's horrible. You're saying God wants me to sit in the dark? The electricity went out, and now the children's going to be cold. You think God wants me to have cold children? He wants me to turn on electricity. Right? And my response to that is, take what you will from whatever you want, right? However, let's just think it through. God says do X. We don't do X. What does that mean? Take it how you will. Don't put it in terms of good and bad. Put it in terms of right and wrong. Yeah? If that's more helpful. But at the end of the day, the bottom line is what? Is that what are we going to get the most out of life? Therefore, people, I beg of you, for your own sake. Right? Some people ask sometimes, they say, like, what do you care? Like, why should I? Like, live and let live. I mean, what do you care if somebody goes ahead and breaks Shabbos? Yeah, let's say. Yeah, I have people that I know that break Shabbos. I know it's crazy. But I know people that don't always keep Shabbos, don't always eat kosher. So like, live and let live. What do you care? See, my response to that is I'm not even going to answer you directly. I'm going to answer you in another way. If you saw someone who's about to walk in front of a bus, right? They're about to walk in front of a bus. They're not paying attention. They're texting and walking, right? I saw a sign on the floor. Anyone saw these signs? They have signs on the floor right before you cross the street. They say like, look up. Yeah, this is actual, like look up. Yeah, it's in New York, right? Like look up because people are looking like this. It's silly. It should have sensors that the thing starts beeping because no one's looking anywhere, right? A person about to walk into oncoming traffic. Do you save him or no?
Of course.
Bystander effect is real.
No, do you save them or no?
Of course.
All right, do you help them? Why? Who cares? Who cares? Let them go. What's the big deal? Live and let live. No, but the person in that case doesn't want to actually die. They don't realize. What if a person wants to die? What if a person says, I can't take it anymore, and they're about to jump in front of a bus? We'd be like, well, he really can't take it anymore. I guess that's what he wants. right? Or would you try to stop him? What do you say? You stop him, right? Hopefully you stop him, yeah? People, the body, that's what we care about. You understand? You have this body for 70 years, 80 years, 102 years if you're of Yad, 114 or a 7 if you're of Shah, 121 if you're the oldest, whatever, who doesn't really have proof of the birth of it. But the idea is what? At the end of the day, that's what you care about. What about your soul? That's eternal. That's going to live on forever. What do you care about? You care about the body? Or you care about the soul? So someone's about to walk in front of a bus. Someone's about to kill their soul. I'm not going to help them. Of course I'm going to try to help them. You think they're a bad person? Not that bad or good. It's like, what do you mean? Dude, what do you see what you're doing? And we're giving up nitzchis. We're giving opportunity for this small little thing. I mean, there's a lot more to this, obviously, but I got to bust a move. So people, we done. Any questions, comments, stories, jokes, attacks? Please keep them verbal, non-physical. Hit it.
Is it not kosher to have like chicken and cheese?
Chicken, the Chinese chicken. You have a drumstick and you're bringing some chicken. Fish and cheese, you can nail that sucker like no one's business. Enjoy it. Right? Unless you're Sephardi, there's some that don't do it, right? But it's some, the shak says the toe sofim. Chicken parmesan, baby. Ain't no thing. Ain't no thing.
Was it yes or no?
What's up? How you doing? Right? Yeah. Well, one is not supposed to partake of such a dish.
Okay, because I thought I was like worried about like eating the calf and its mother's milk or something like that.
Right.
Chickens, we don't drink chicken milk.
Not so often. Right. Yeah. I don't know if chickens have milk. Right? Right. Saying, but it could be where you're, I'm not really sure where you're from, but I'll tell you the following. It's a good question. It requires a lot more details to explain it. But yes, at the end of the day, the answer to the question is not, right? And I just want to understand, like, why and where that comes from, right? So that we're happy to discuss, right? But until then, yeah.
Isn't chicken parv though?
Chicken what?
Isn't chicken parv?
Oh, it depends what you're asking. In other words, you're asking me midoraisa or midarabanan. I mean, for the fact that you just used that terminology means you know a little bit more than a little bit less. So that's why I'm hitting you with this, right? So in other words, you're asking from Torah or rabbinic, if that's what I mean. In other words, from rabbinic law, no. It is meat. You have to wait 6 hours, or 3 for someone to do that, or 1 if you're Dutch, or none if you don't listen to the rules. But the idea is what that's straight up, right? That's how we pass it. If you want to get a little bit deeper, then perhaps. I mean, it happens to be there's a shita in the Gemara that even says no, it's flesh of midoraisa, right? We don't pass it like that. We also have glili and kira machlokes. But the idea that we go with is that actually yes, you are correct, midoraisa, but midorabana, no, it's straight up. Anything else, people?
Is waiting 3 hours okay for chicken?
You should wait 6 hours. Assuming one is asking the question. If one is not asking the question, they should also, but they didn't ask. This is ideal. You understand? Yeah. You have to understand we have to have another class about everything here that just jumping into things, right? Understand that's a little bit too fast and move too fast. A person jumps into everything, they burn out. So in terms of practically how we do this is another question. But in terms of the ultimate, if you're asking me, then that's the answer to that. And that's how we know that Jesus is not Messiah. Thank you so much. Now Rabbi Berger. Have a great day.